In the heart of the African wild, where predator and prey obey ancient laws, one silent night defied them all. An orphaned lion cub, abandoned to die, and an owl, grieving her own loss, did something no creature was meant to do. What happened next rewrote the rules of nature itself. The last light drained from the sky like spilled ink across the savannah. In the hush that followed, a cry broke the silence, thin, high, not quite roar, not yet strength. Beneath the old baobab, a lion cub no bigger than a house cat trembled against the dry earth, his golden coat smudged with dust. He called again, throat raw, but no answer came. His mother, taken by poachers earlier that day, was never coming back. And above, in the branches where moonlight touched bark, a pair of ancient eyes opened. Mara the owl watched from her perch. She'd once guarded her own chicks in that same tree, until a serpent in the night found them first. Her nest was empty now, her purpose stripped away in a single coil of fate. But what stirred in her breast wasn't sorrow anymore. It was something older than reason, a pull beneath feathers and bone. She tilted her head. The cub cried again. And Mara listened. Not with curiosity. Not with hunger. With recognition. Something broken had called out. And something broken had answered. Mara dropped from the tree like a shadow poured from the stars. Her wings spread wide as she floated down, silent, deliberate, not the glide of a hunter, but the descent of something pulled by purpose. The cub stirred, eyes blinking through dust and fear. His tiny body shivered with the kind of cold that doesn't come from air, but from absence. She landed beside him, talons brushing the ground just inches from his side. Her great head tilted once, twice, studying him. A lion, yes. A predator. But right now, just a child, soft and shaking, barely tethered to life. By every rule she knew, the rules of feather and fawn, she should have turned away. Instead she stepped closer. With awkward, gentle strength, Mara reached down and gripped the loose scruff at the back of his neck. Her talons curled with care, not piercing, only holding. And inch by inch she dragged him, first a slip, then a pull, across the ground toward the hollow at the base of her tree. It took nearly an hour. She stopped, rested, pulled again. Until finally the cub lay tucked beneath the roots, wrapped in shadow and shelter. The wild had no name for what she'd just done. But love rarely waits for permission. The nights that followed were stitched together by instinct and tenderness. While the savannah turned silver beneath the stars, Mara became more than a watcher. She became a provider. Each dusk she rose from the baobab like a silent prayer, wings cutting through the dark, seeking life to give to another. She brought back field mice, lizards, the occasional hare, tearing them into smaller bites and setting them gently at the mouth of the hollow. The cub, slowly gaining strength, would lift his head with a soft chirp, not quite a roar, not quite a hoot, but something between the two. A sound all his own. The researchers watching from afar began calling him Tao, the Setswana word for lion. Tao would press his body against Mara when the night wind howled. She'd open one great wing and drape it around him like a blanket spun from the sky. Her eyes never closed, always watching, always guarding. By day he slept. By night, they lived, two creatures not meant to be together, bound by a need older than survival. No pride. No flock. Only this tiny world of feather and fur, breath and bone, where something impossible had begun to feel like home. Tao grew quickly, his paws heavy now, his shoulders beginning to carry the shape of the lion he was meant to become. But his strength wasn't what marked the change. It was his stillness. Other cubs his age, had they lived, would be charging, tumbling, roaring at the wind. But Tao waited. He crouched low in the grass, eyes fixed, breath shallow. Watching. Listening. Mara had become his compass. When he crept too soon toward rustling prey, she would descend in a flash, wings flared, cutting off his path. Not to scold, to teach. The wind carries stories, her movement seemed to say. Listen to the leaves before you leap. Feel the earth before you move. And he did. Each night he studied the way her wings rode air currents. How she struck only when the moment was certain. He mirrored her in motion, in patience, in silence. Nature had given him claws, muscle, hunger. But from Mara he inherited something far rarer. Discipline. In the hush between heartbeat and pounce he was no longer just a lion. He was something more. A creature shaped not only by instinct but by love that whispered, wait. By 6 months Tao was no longer a cub tucked beneath roots. He was a force rising from the earth. His shoulders rippled with strength. His voice, once a squeak, had deepened into the early echo of a roar. The wild had begun to whisper to him in a different tongue, one he hadn't learned from feathers. The researchers had been watching, waiting. And when they found a nearby lioness who'd recently lost her own cubs, they made the call. If Tao was ever to join his kind, it had to be now. They came with crates and tranquilizers, quiet steps and careful plans. But Mara saw through it all. The owl who had never shown fear, never struck out in aggression, became a fury of wings and talons. She dove again and again, screeching with a voice no one had heard before, not rage but heartbreak-given sound. She struck Dr. Naima across the arm, then circled back, guarding Tao with the fire of a mother who had already lost too much. But the world would not bend. Tao was sedated, lifted. And as he was carried away, Mara followed, not with flight but with silence. Not one cry. Only the hollow ache of goodbye. Tao woke beneath a sky he did not know. The scents were wrong. The trees unfamiliar. Even the wind spoke in accents he didn't recognize. Around him, a circle had formed, lions full-grown, golden-eyed and watchful. A lioness stepped forward, her muscles coiled, her expression unreadable. This was not her cub. He didn't move. Tao, now almost grown, sat perfectly still. His ears twitched, but his body remained calm, grounded. He lowered his gaze not in fear but in reverence. He waited. Not a sound, not a twitch of challenge. Only the soft rustle of grass and the thrum of his own heart. It wasn't the way of lions. But it was the way he had been taught. The pride watched. The lioness paced. And then, slowly, cautiously, she crossed the space between them. Her breath brushed his cheek. Tao closed his eyes. A pause, then the rasp of her tongue across his fur. Acceptance. Not earned through growls or games of dominance. But through the stillness of a soul raised to read the wind, not rule it. In that moment Mara's lessons lived again. And the pride found its missing piece. Time reshaped him. Tao, once a trembling orphan, now ruled the savannah with the weight of muscle and myth. His mane had turned deep gold, catching fire in the light of late afternoon. Scars marked his shoulders, but none deeper than the memory behind his eyes. He had become a lion other lions respected, but not for his roar. For his restraint. For his patience. But the wind was shifting again. On the horizon, something old returned. Footsteps that didn't belong. The metallic scent of oil and iron. The same kind of silence that once followed his mother's last breath. The poachers had come back, rifles slung low, voices hushed, unaware of what now watched them from the tall grass. Tao found them before they found him. He did not growl. He did not lunge. He circled. Stalked. Measured the ground with the same deliberateness he once used to shadow Mara's wing beats. The moment wasn't yet right, and Tao knew better than to waste it. He melted into shadow, every breath calculated. The men who had left him to die had returned. But they weren't hunting an orphan now. They were walking into the rhythm of something far more dangerous. Something that knew how to wait. They never saw him coming. The poachers moved like ghosts, careful steps, fingers resting on triggers, eyes scanning for easy prey. But the wind betrayed them. It shifted, whispered through the grass. And from it, something ancient rose. Tao struck not with noise but with precision. A blur of muscle and fury erupted from the undergrowth. One rifle clattered to the ground, another man fell backward, scrambling, breath torn from his lungs. Chaos cracked the silence as they scattered, weapons forgotten, hunted by the very life they once tried to erase. But Tao didn't give chase. He'd done what he came to do, not kill but reveal. The rangers, already tracking the poachers' movement, closed in fast. Flashlights, cuffs, justice. And Tao, melted back into the dusk, unseen. That night the savannah breathed easier. Mara, still high in the baobab, called once, a low haunting hoot that drifted across the plains like a lullaby. In the distance, from deep within the grasslands, a roar answered. Not of fury, of recognition. A son remembering the mother who taught him patience, purpose, and how to wait for the right moment. This story moved you, share it. Let others hear it too, and remember what love can teach when the wild dares to listen.